All right, let's dive deep into something a little spicy today, shall we? Sex positions. You might think you know everything, but trust me, we've got some interesting stuff from all sorts of sources. YouTube, magazines, you name it.
Yeah, going beyond just the names and into what people are actually interested in, we can see some interesting things about what different people prioritize.
Exactly. Like, did you know reverse cowgirl is the most searched position in America? What do you think that tells us?
Well, maybe it says something about control, right? The person on top, they're got a unique view too. It could be a power thing, a visual thing, who knows?
Interesting. Like flipping the script. Speaking of flipping, did you see what Emily had to say about it? You know, that sex advice YouTube channel?
Yeah.
She's big on self-pleasure even when, you're not in charge.
Right, that's about taking ownership of your own pleasure. It all comes back to good communication, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Emily even talks about mirrors, not just for watching, but to, see what's working and talking about it.
Good point. No more guessing games. She also had some smart tips about kneeling instead of sitting.
Oh yeah, stability and leverage. Makes sense.
Holding yourself up can be a workout, that's for sure. Okay, switching gears. One of the sources had a listener question that was like, I hate 69, but my partner loves it. What do you even do with that?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, multitasking during, intimate moments isn't for everyone.
Definitely. Emily has suggested some other options, though, like side by side or just, using your hands instead. It's about finding something that works for both people, right?
Exactly. Got to find that compromise. Okay, ready for something maybe a little surprising? The K method.
Oh, yeah. Emily's revolutionary technique sounds dramatic, but the idea behind it is actually pretty cool.
It's about knowing female anatomy, like really understanding it so you can target specific nerves. Mindful touching and exploration, that's the key takeaway.
Like having a map instead of just wandering around. I gotta say, her demo with a vulva puppet, pretty funny, but it makes it less scary.
For sure. Less taboo. Okay, ready for another position? Face sitting.
Face sitting. Did you see the geographic trends? Huge in DC and Iowa. Who would have thought?
Right. It's definitely about power, but in a way that can be good for both people. Letting go of control can be pretty exciting.
And Emily actually calls it face kneeling, which I thought was smart. Less pressure, literally. It shows you can tweak any position to be more comfy.
It's all about the language we use, right? Making things less intimidating.
Hmm.
So, shall we move on to something a bit more adventurous? Shower sex.
Classic for a reason. But slippery surfaces, right?
Yeah, it's about being spontaneous but safe. Emily suggests leaning on the walls, using lube that works even when things are wet, and being careful with toys.
Oh, yeah. She had a story about a shower head injury that made me cringe.
Makes you think twice, right? Safety first, no matter what.
Absolutely. But sometimes things do get a little awkward no matter how careful you are.
It happens. It happens. But, sometimes those awkward moments make the best stories. As long as everyone is safe and having fun, right?
Totally. It's real life, right? Not everything's going to be perfect. But speaking of things not always being perfect, one of the sources talked about this idea of consensual objectification. Sounds kind of heavy, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it challenges how we think about those things. It's like you're choosing to be seen in a certain way.
Yeah.
And it can be really empowering for everyone involved as long as everyone's on board.
Like a power play, but you're both in control. Maybe face sitting taps into that a little.
Could be. Letting go and being vulnerable like that can be a real turn on.
Oh, random thought. Did you see Pennsylvania's most searched position? 69.
Wow. Really? Just goes to show you. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. No pun intended. But even with 69, it's all about communication. Finding a rhythm, taking breaks, even using toys to spice things up.
Totally. You got to make sure everyone's enjoying themselves. Speaking of enjoying things, what about edging?
Oh, yeah, edging. That can really take things to the next level.
It's like building up the anticipation, right? Emily, from that YouTube channel, called it riding the wave.
I like that. Making it last longer, savoring every moment.
It's a skill. Yeah. You can learn it, practice it, being in tune with your body, talking to your partner.
So back to shower sex for a sec. It can be a challenge, but gotta admit, it's pretty hot.
Oh, for sure. The water, the steam, just feeling close. It's primal,
Plus, there's something exciting about being spontaneous, like a little adventure in your bathroom. And, even if things don't go all the way, there's still so much you can do.
Right. Oral sex, using your hands, even just a massage under the water.
And remember, lube is still important.
Absolutely. Water can actually make things drier, believe it or not.
Speaking of being prepared, Emily had that story about a shower head injury.
Ouch. Always good to be mindful of safety.
For sure. But back to those regional preferences for a sec. Californians and the cliff diver, Texans loving the pretzel. I mean, what's the connection between where you live and what you're into?
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Right. Culture, environment, who knows? But it's cool to see how diverse things are. So many ways to express yourself.
So many positions to try. So before we wrap up this part, let's give our listeners something to think about.
Ooh, I like it.
What if you could invent your own position? What would you call it? What would make it special?
Ooh, get creative. Think about what you'd want to feel, what kind of dynamic you'd want.
So, we've talked about all these positions, but what about when you're in a relationship for a while? Does it change things?
Oh, definitely. It's about finding what works for both of you over time. Building a repertoire, so to speak.
Like your go-to moves. But wouldn't that get, I don't know, boring after a while?
Well, some sources actually said trying new things can keep the spark alive, even in long-term relationships.
That makes sense, like shaking things up a bit.
Exactly. Stepping outside your comfort zone together, that can really bring you closer.
And it takes trust, right? To try new things, be open about what you like.
Communication is key. And, sometimes things get a little awkward even when you think you know each other really well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially with new positions. It's not always going to be perfect.
It's about being able to laugh about it.
Yeah.
Letting go of that pressure to be, some kind of sex god or goddess.
Just being yourselves. And honestly, sometimes those awkward moments are the most fun.
Totally. It's like, hey, we're both human. We're figuring this out together.
Makes you feel closer, in a way. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main thing you hope people take away from all this?
I think just remembering there's no right way to do this, It's about what works for you and your partner. Exploring, talking about it, and having fun.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about the connection, not just the positions. So go out there, try some new things, but most importantly, connect with each other.
That's it. And on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye for now. But before we go, one last thought. What if instead of the perfect position, we focused on the perfect connection?
That's a great way to end it. The positions are just tools. It's the connection that really matters. So go explore, experiment, and connect. Until next time.